Hi, Amin from Mysore. Hi, Kushal from Kolkata. Hi, Pratyusha. Hi, Akansha. Hi, Kapil. Hi, Akshata. Great from Andhra Pradesh, Bhopal, hopefully from everywhere. Uh, so we will wait for other people to join. Till then, would request everyone to write a short introduction about yourself. Sonali from Bangalore. Hi, Nana from Mysore. LPU, Dharmendra. Hi, Anubhav. Everybody who are joining, please write a short introduction in the chat. Name, city, college name. It's really helpful to get to know each other. Hi. Hi, Ashish. Hi, Ravi. Hi, Pratipa from Tamil Nadu. Hi, from Andhra Pradesh. Motihari, Varun. Hi. Priyanka. Hi. Ashika, Chennai. Hi. Vishu from Andhra. Hi. We'll wait for other people to join as well. Start at 12:05. Ravi from Karnataka. Andhra Pradesh. Saurav, are you there?
Yep, I'm here.
Okay. Can you just share the screen?
Yep, sure. Let me share my screen.
Hi, Pragya. Hi, Sani. Hi, Prakhar. Hi, Abdur from Hyderabad. Hi, from UAE. Okay. Nawaz. Hi. Hi, Sia from Venkat. Hi, Rahul. Hi, Kishore. Okay. So, Saurav, is it possible to do full screen of the PPT?
Yeah.
Okay.
Hope
Thanks.
my screen is visible.
Yeah, it's visible. Saurav, we will start at 12:05. Just waiting for a
Yeah.
few other people to join. And after the intro session, you can take it after.
Yep.
Okay. Mm, everybody who is able to see the screen, just give a thumbs up reaction. Okay. Hi, Harshit. Everybody who are joining, they will start at 12:05 sharp. Just waiting for the people to join as well. Hi, Harshit from Lucknow, Omkar from Pune. Hi. Okay. Those who have joined now, can you just write a short introduction about yourself in the chat? Hi, Sandeep from Mumbai. Okay. Hi. Hi, Raj from Andhra Pradesh, from Pune, Guntur. Okay, Pune. Nice. Great. Let's start the session. Will other people will keep on joining? We are already 5 minutes ahead of 12. It's a short workshop which we do on every Saturday with all the industry mentors. Brief about me. I am the founder of Cuvette, and we have been doing it since 2021. We are being used by more than 20 lakh students in India right now, and we are growing very rapidly. It's we have our more than 6,000 plus partner companies in India, and we help college students and entry level, like recent graduate students, to get software jobs. So we are the only platform in India one and only platform in India, I would say, who does this, who help freshers to get tech jobs, and we are pretty big. We You can check us out on YouTube, LinkedIn, Instagram, Telegram. We are everywhere. We help students get placed, and all the testimonials are there. So you can see like all the students giving their feedbacks with their experience on the Cuvette. You can search Cuvette on YouTube. You can search Cuvette on Instagram, LinkedIn. Every time we keep on sharing the relevant updates. So this is about Cuvette. Can we go on next page, Saurabh? Okay, thanks. We also have a placement guarantee program where we help students get placement after completing this course program. It's an outcome-based learning program. You can check out the details of these programs in the dashboard itself. When you like sign up or sign in the dashboard, on the dashboard you will see these cards and you can check out more details on it. Great. Over to you, Saurabh. You can go to the next slide. Before starting, we have Arno here. Arno.
Yeah, hello everyone.
Okay, great. Great. I'm just turning my video off. Thanks, Saurav, for giving me time for introduction. You can take it ahead from here.
Yeah, thanks, Atul. So maybe I'll also start by introducing myself. So my name is Sourov, and I have 5 years of experience in industry now, and I have worked with companies like Amazon and also Deliveroo. And like in my day-to-day job also, I have extensively used generative AI. So hope this session will be helpful for you from career perspective. So that being said, let's start this short workshop. So in this slide, you can see there is an image. This image kind of not looking realistic, but it is something very aesthetic. Right? So you can see some fort, like some architecture. You can see like I don't know if these are some people or not, but yeah, I mean, if you see this, like this is something look kind of hyper realistic. Right? Not totally real, but something hyper realistic. And do you know who created this? Like, is it created by some human, some artist, someone? The answer is no. Like, it is not created by any human. Instead, it is generated by some AI tool. So nowadays, you might have already seen there are lots of AI generated stuffs available online. Even the recent trend, if you see the Ghibli style images, right? So I think all of us kind of have seen like the online community is kind of like getting flooded by lots of AI generated images. So this is actually a product of generative AI only. And today we are going to see a bird eye view on how this generative AI actually works under the hood. Okay, so let's get started. So what exactly is generative AI? So if you guys know about like artificial intelligence in general, so there is a distinct separation between the last generation of AI and the new generations of AI. So previous generation AIs are more like predicting things. Like for example, let's say you are working in some like credit card company, and you might need to know like how to predict if a transaction is fraud in the credit card. So how this was working earlier is like let's say this example. Let's say someone a person is buying something using a credit card, and generally that person purchases something from, let's say, one location, let's say from Delhi. And generally, his transactions are around, let's say, 100 rupees to, let's say, 1,000 rupees. But suddenly, one day, you saw some large transactions are happening in an odd time, let's say at night, 2 a.m., and that person is buying some laptop, and the location is different. Maybe it is from a different country. So probably that is an anomaly, right? So that is an anomaly, and probably like in previous days, artificial intelligence, what used to do is like, for example, anomaly detection. You can apply the previous types artificial intelligence, and you can detect that something anomalous is happening in the system, and you can identify that. Or similarly, let's say you are working on stock market, you want to predict something. You have some stock price data and you want to know what is going to happen in the future or in the near future, and you predict something like based on some parameter, some event that is happening, or some financial results. So predicting something, these are all kind of like old generations of artificial intelligence. But the new generation of artificial intelligence that is coming right now are like more like generating stuff. Like this is not predicting something, rather it is creating new and new thing. For example, creating new text based on some prompt. If you have used ChatGPT, then you have probably already seen, like if you give some text or some prompt to ChatGPT, then ChatGPT will generate some answer, some response on behalf of the prompt. So this is kind of a text generation. Similarly, image generation is another. So recently, like ChatGPT, you can see like they are generating lots of Ghibli style images. That is kind of an image generation. Right? So not only the ChatGPT is a recent phenomena, especially in image generation side, but like there are other like tools as well that is available in the market for quite some time. For example, DALL-E is one that is in fact owned by OpenAI itself. And there are mid journey where you can generate like hyper realistic images by giving some prompt only. Or there are stable diffusion where you can give some prompt and you can generate some sort of like dream-like events, some new images. So text generation is one, image generation is one, and in fact, code generation is another use case of this generative AI. For example, GitHub Copilot is something where you can write some prompt that, okay, this is my code, or this is something, this is a new feature I want, write a code for this. Or let's say, I have written some code, give me some test cases for it. Or I have written this code, help me identifying some bug. Or write the code in such a way that it is bug free. So these are all kind of generative things, right? So we are generating text, generating images, generating code. So new generation of AI, this generative AI especially, they focuses on generating new and new stuff. And this is a transition from predictors to creator side of things. Okay. Generative AI versus traditional AI. So what are the use cases you can see in generative AI? So, or what kind of use cases we had in traditional AI? So as I already mentioned, in traditional AI, it was more like predicting things based on data. For example, spam filtering is one. Like, let's say you are using some email, and in email, you always get lots of like fraud marketing emails, right? So let's say Gmail wants to analyze and identify if some email is spam or not. Or let's say some like SIM card company, they want to understand if some certain call is like spam call or not. Nowadays, we all get lots of fraudulent call, right? So identifying spam, that means predicting something. It's based on some data, predicting something if this is spam or not. So this is a use case of traditional AI because this is a prediction. Or let's say any fraud detection. For example, the credit card example that I gave, there like we're analyzing the data and we're seeing like, okay, the new transaction that happens seems something odd. It is not following the regular patterns of the transaction. So maybe we can flag it that this can be a fraudulent activity, and we can notify the user that someone is trying to access your credit card. Do you like giving the permission or things like that? So this is also kind of predicting based on data. So in fact, predicting stock market can also be another use cases of generative AI. I know predicting stock market is not easy, but many people in industry are using traditional AI to predict stock market. For example, let's say, like if you are buying something in stock, you generally see like what is the financial statement of the company in the last quarter. But if you apply AI, maybe the AI will be able to help like gather more information from more sources, like let's say how overall certain sector is performing, how the market is impacted by some global events, for example, like COVID-19 or some news. But based on all this data, all these events, you want to predict something. So these are all traditional AI, because here we're all the thing we're doing is all prediction. So actually in traditional AI, we had something called like supervised learning. So in supervised learning, like you have lots of historical data. You analyze the historical data, and for some unknown circumstances, you want to know what will be the future, what will be the prediction. Okay, so this is how the traditional AI works, but the generative AI works a little differently. Even though the underlying technology that generative AI uses like have lots of commonalities with traditional AI, we'll soon see those things. But generative AI is little different because it is more like creating new stuff, right? Creating something unique. For example, let's say you want to let's say you are managing some advertisement department in your company, and you want to build lots of advertisement that you are going to publish in platforms like Meta, that is Facebook, then Google, then Instagram, and you want to generate lots of advertisements because let's say you are running a big company. So in that case, like you can do one thing, you can hire someone and you can write, like you can build this advertisement manually. But a more efficient approach would be to like generate new and new images with some generative AI tools. Like write some prompt that, okay, so this is the advertisement I want to build, and give me the image for this, or give me the text that I should write in the advertisement. Give me that. So this sort of like generating new and new stuff you can do using generative AI. So in fact, from my experience also, as I mentioned it, I have worked in two companies, Amazon and Deliveroo. So when I was in Amazon, I didn't use generative AI much, but in my current company, I'm seeing like the lots of generative AI stuffs are coming into picture. Especially in my team also, like I'm generating hundreds of thousands of advertisement that is customized for user. I'm generating all this using some generative AI tools only, and these are helping us to generate lots of revenue. So for industry, generative AI is a lucrative area. The manual effort will be lot less, and the more customization facilities will be there. So like generative AI kind of build a like $1 billion ecosystem, and probably you guys have already seen it in news and everywhere, right? So generative AI is the future. So lots of introduction about generative AI. So let's understand a little bit about how generative AI actually works under the hood. So like other machine learning stuff as well, generative AI also relies heavily on data. Like especially this internet, right? So previously, like before the internet era, we didn't have much data. Like only big companies used to deal with data, but again the data they had was limited, like maybe few GB, maybe 100 GBs of data. But this internet, like so everyone is now in internet. So billions of people are in internet, and every day they are generating lots of contents. So I was seeing some stat like in YouTube, every second people are uploading 1 hour's worth of video. So that means every second, like every day, around 3600, like one day have 3600 seconds. So every day, people are uploading 3600 hours worth of video. That is massive, right? So in 1 year, YouTube is getting massive amount of data in their system. And the same thing is true for Facebook, Instagram, Google. So lots of data. People are generating lots of data, and these big companies are capturing all of them. That's why they are called data companies. These big companies, they are like capturing lots of information and storing them in their databases. But why? Why they are storing like so much data? Because data is the new electricity. So at one time, like so 100 years back, 200 years back, electricity defined how the industry should move. But nowadays, data decides how industry should move. So data creates efficiency. So data creates efficiency in the system. For example, let's say you want to target some, let's say you are running a platform and you want to target some customer so that they can join and like they can contribute to your business by as a client. Then like how you are going to target those customers? If you have data, if you have knowledge that who might be interested, you can make customized targeting, right? So data is a new electricity, and big companies are gathering massive amount of data, not in GB, not even in terabyte, it is in petabyte, or sometimes it is in exabytes. So lots of data they are gathering. Now, this deep learning model, it is an innovation in modeling how to make like sense out of data. It is a like some sort of mathematical model you can imagine. So this takes lots of data. It consumes this data, and it can generate this content that we want. So all artificial intelligence model needs data, massive amounts of data. Let me give you an example that you might relate. Let's say you are building a facial recognition system. For example, nowadays you can like open your mobile, and your mobile will automatically see your face and unlock your phone, right? So how a, let's say, facial recognition system work? So you can imagine this way. Maybe like we can think about some features related to some like let's say Indian face detection features. Now, these Indian people have some distinct characteristics, right? So if you capture an image, if you capture a photo, they will have some distinct characteristics. For example, maybe Indian have a bit like a brown color, or the eye can be like almond shape, or let's say the eye is brown colored, or let's say the hair color is let's say black. So all these are distinct feature of an Indian person, right? On average, like I'm not generalizing, but on average, these are some distinct characteristics of the face of people from Indian diaspora. Now, these are the key characteristics. Now, if you build something mathematical, if you can build some model that can identify this pattern out of image, then using this distinct feature, you can identify this person is Indian or not, right? So distinct characteristics, like your data will be, you'll have everything in your data, and out of the data, you have to make sense, right? You have to identify patterns. These deep learning models can help you identify patterns from dataset, from raw dataset. You have millions of images. If you feed the data to your deep learning model, the deep learning model can help you to identify all the key characteristics you have in your data. Now, these characteristics, sometimes these characteristics are very straightforward, as I mentioned. For example, almond shape eye, or brown eye, or black hair, or a little darker color. So these are key characteristics, but some of the characteristics are hidden, right? For example, like when we see people around us, over the time, we see lots of data, we see lots of faces of people, and over the time, we gather some insight, although we don't know closely what exactly like is those distinct features are, but still our brain kind of understand those patterns, right? And it quickly helps us to like see similar pattern. We see a person for let's say 10 time, 12 time in the road, and even though let's say you don't know that person for long time, but if you are seeing that person for 10 time, 12 time, at some point you will remember that face, right? maybe if I ask you to draw the image of that person, you won't be able to draw it. You won't be able to pinpoint, accurately draw the person unless you have photographic memory. But like you will remember some key patterns, right? Using those key patterns only, although you exactly don't know what those key patterns are, you'll be able to map that, okay, this person I might have seen in the road. So this deep learning model can do this. Like you have data and you can gain patterns, you can recognize pattern, you can recognize a structure, and sometimes recognizing relationship as well. For example, generally people who have almond shaped eyes generally have blue, let's say brown eyes. So you can also identify some patterns, relationships, structures. And I gave example of some visual data, but this data can not only be visual data, it can be numeric data as well. It can be text data as well. So at the end, to computer, everything is like number only. So even though you have some image, computer will translate it to number, and the deep learning model will identify pattern in those numeric data only. Even for text also, it will be converted to number, and your deep learning model will identify patterns from those numeric data only. But understanding pattern is important, and deep learning model is something that can help us to gather the patterns. Now, identifying pattern and collecting them together, like merging them together, is what generative AI does. So you have identified some pattern. Let's say some distinct characteristics you have identified. Now you can randomly assemble those distinct characteristics. For example, you can create a person with let's say almond shaped eye, then brown screen, brown eyes, dark color. Maybe that person, that the image that arbitrarily image will look like an Indian person, right? So generative deep learning is learning the pattern, learning the structure, and then comes the generation part. Using that pattern, generate something new. Okay, so let's go a little bit deeper into deep learning as well. So this deep learning is also not very old idea. Like deep learning came into picture maybe 20, 30 years back, but long time back, 50, 60 years back, people developed something called a neural network, which is the foundation of deep learning. So neural network is the foundation of deep learning. So let's discuss a bit about neural network. So neural network is something that is inspired from our brain. So maybe you have studied in biology that a human brain have lots of neuron, and they are connected, right? So our nervous systems are all connected through lots of neurons, billions of neurons, and they give signals. Our brain gives signals, and all parts of our body follow that signals and do the activities that our brain told those parts of our body to do, right? So lots of neurons we have, and neural network is something that actually mimics those biological neurons. So how exactly this neural network works? So neural network have something called input layer. Maybe I'll discuss the individual single neuron first, then I'll go to this input, hidden layer, and output layer. So if you think about a neuron have some input and some output, and also it have its own body that do some sort of processing. For example, let's think a simple example. Let's say I'm building a website like Magic Brick, and let's say I'm going to predict, I want to predict the housing prices in a particular area. Let's say I live in Hyderabad, and I want to predict the housing prices around my locality. What will be the step-by-step that I should follow? The first thing is data collection. I have to collect data. So I should go like door by door and I should collect data. Okay, this is the house, this is the size, this is the bedroom that house has, and this is the number of parking spot we have, or this is the total story of the building, and let's say this is the price. The final outcome is this is the price. This is the price of the house. Similarly, let's say hundreds of house, we can gather the data like house size. Let's say house distance from the main road. Let's say distance from school, distance from hospital, size of the building, number of bedroom, number of bathroom, number of parking spots. There's all these are essential information for us. Now, these essential informations are the input of a neuron. You can imagine a neuron has a body, but it has lots of input connections. So in the input connection, you can feed all these data. Now, what the body of the neuron is doing, you can imagine this way. Again, like this is not something how exactly our human brain does, but this is how people have modeled, made computer model to represent the whole information processing flow. So what the, okay, so let's discuss about what the body of the neuron is doing. So so we have, let's say we have fed all the information, all the key characteristics of the house to a neuron. Now, somewhere this neuron will be able to determine what features are more important. For example, some features may not be that important. For example, maybe distance from school is important, but not that important. That's out of 100, the importance is only 30%. The priority is 30%. But size of the house, that is really important, right? So let's say the size of the house is 80% important to us. And let's say the number of washroom is, let's say, 50% important to us. Or let's say distance from hospital is, let's say, 30% important to us. Like all this information, we give weightage. All this information, input informations are essential, but they also have some sort of weight. Right? Depending on the weight, we give priority to incoming signals. So this body of the neural network, not neural network, neuron, individual neuron. This body of the individual neuron, the responsibility of the body of the neuron is to gather the input information and give priority to each of them, each of the event, and then predict, I can buy this, like what can be the price of that house. Right? So maybe distance from hospital will give less contribute less to the ultimate price of the house, but maybe like the size and then the number of washroom and then the location, they will probably have higher priority and they will contribute more to the ultimate price of the house. So every neuron have some input, the body is doing some computation, some calculation, and some output. Okay. Now, one neuron is good at gathering information and building some output. So these are kind of like a small unit of our brain that can process some information. But imagine if you have lots of such neuron coordinating with each other, collaborating with each other, and making a gigantic system that is actually processing just like human brain. Okay. So yeah, so neural network is nothing but a vast network of individual small neuron. You can see this image. So for neural network also, this individual these nodes you can see, they are individual neuron, and we have connected individual neuron and made a vast network. Some nodes you can see in between these outside boundaries. This is the first layers are called input layer, where we feed the data, where we feed the raw information that we have gathered as part of the data collection. And then neural network do some computation and the result, it uses the result, it collects them and builds some internal node. I'll come to this hidden internal nodes later, but at the end, it generates some output. And the output can be something meaningful. That output can be, let's say, what can be the price of the house, or it can be like what can be the like a person, like the probability of a person to buy the house or not. Like based on that, you can always advertise and target and advertise, right? So all these like meaningful outcome, neural network can generate without much human intervention. So these are like input, these are output, and there are some hidden layers. Okay, and neural network have something called weight. This weight is nothing but the 30%, 70% example that I get. Okay, so lots of time, like what these hidden layers are doing. So lots of time, the information that we'll gather are not that useful. And lots of time, the insights that we are gathering, multiple insights can lead to a stronger signal. Right? Ultimately, these are all signal processing only. You are getting input, some input, and you are processing signal in an efficient manner. You are processing signal so that in the output, you get the expected outcome, reducing all the noises in the data and amplifying all the important things that are present in the data and making the signal, right, the final signal. So these hidden layers, what they are doing is they are gathering output of multiple neurons. They are gathering insights collected from them, and they are again generating something more insightful, right? For example, let's say the previous example that I gave, for example, almond shape eye. This is a characteristics of an Indian person, but maybe it is a characteristics of some people from some other countries as well. But maybe this almond shape eye and also, let's say, brown eye, together, they give a strong signal that this person might be an Indian person. So this example, you can see, like you can imagine this one neuron is kind of calculating if in that image, in the given image, the eye shape is almond shape or not. Let's say another neuron is calculating if the color of that eye is brown or not. If it is brown, is it hazel? It is identifying the eye color. Then together, they are even creating a new information. Okay, I got these two information. They signals that together, they gives a high priority that this person is most likely going to be an Indian person. So these hidden layers are going to gather this individual small information and amplifying the signals, or sometimes reducing the signals that are not important. Like some information you gathered, you might think it is important, but together if you collect those two information, let's say you saw that, okay, no, this is not something important. So those will get lower priority in the hidden layer. And at the end, the output layer will tell us, okay, this person, 90% probability that this person is an Indian. Okay, so this is how the neural network works. And generally, individual neurons are very small. It is capable of doing very simple things, not something complex. But together, this whole network of things are extremely powerful. And how many such, like generally, like people who are building something real world, some real world product that have capacity to do things like building ChatGPT like system, or building a mid-journey like system, or building something that can predict cancer, or building something that can predict let's say the future diabetes. System like that needs lots of data processing and lots of insights from multiple angle. And generally, like this number of nodes, the number of individual neurons can be on million scale or can be in billions scale. I think ChatGPT is more than like 5-10 billions of nodes currently ChatGPT have to build the whole system. Okay, so these are really large network, and like these are really like large, and it is so large that this computation, this processing, like is not possible to compute everything in one computer. Rather, you need really powerful computer, probably not CPU, but GPU, which is like optimized for doing complex computation, and also probably not in one machine, but in hundreds of thousands of machines working in parallel to achieve this, to gain the insights of this kind of things. Okay, so one final thing here. So I think we have discussed most of the things of a neural network. Obviously, in bird's eye view, we are not going into the mathematical details, but like one final thing I want to discuss here is like neural network is not straightforward like this giving input and generating some hidden layer information and then finally giving some output. Rather, it is kind of something called back propagation. Like the flow of information kind of goes from back and forth. You gain some information, like you have lots of data. Let's say you have collected lots of images, and initially you don't even know what almond shape eye means, or what like let's say brown eye means, or what your like black colored hair means. So this neural network has capacity to go back and forth to discover new and new features. How it works? For example, you fed the neural network some raw images. Now, from that raw images, neural network will see that, okay, this location I can see, they looks like this pattern, or they looks like the color looks like brownish. It will calculate the hidden layer, and it will validate, okay, if I slightly like basically like this way. So let's say every data have some sample at the end. Let's say the input that you gathered, the data set that you collected, all from Indian only initially. Then you already know that every person the data that you gathered, all persons are for Indian diaspora only. Then what will happen is you already know the outcome, right? So even though you are feeding the data, all the image collected from India only, even though you are feeding the data, in the output, you might initially see that it is predicting wrongly that, okay, no, this person is not Indian. Then you have to tell the neural network that you have made a mistake. This person is Indian, we have collected data from India only. Then basically the data flow will go from backward to forward. It is called back propagation. And this back propagation corrects all the mistake that the neural network has done. So over the time, basically you are training the system, giving input, neural network is giving you output. The output, you sense that the output is wrong. Then you give the feedback to neural network, and neural network like again modify its weight, give something more important, give something less important, modify the weights, and finally at some point it starts giving accurate responses. Okay, this person, this is Indian. Now, if you give a new image, then the neural network will be able to kind of accurately give you the information once the model is trained. The model is the heart of all these like innovations that is happening, not only in generative AI, but also like what is happening in artificial intelligence world in modern time. They're all backed up by this model. So that's why we spend some more time here. Now let's go to the next slides. Okay, so I think enough discussion on neural network, how neural network works. So let's discuss a little bit about transformer. Okay, so maybe I'll just tell one more thing. This neural network was there for a long time, 50 years. But the major innovation in neural network came with that back propagation only. And the person who discovered this back propagation is so influential. His name is Jeffrey Hinton, and he's so influential that last year he got Nobel Prize in Physics. This is strange. Like someone is working on neural network, and the Nobel Committee has decided to give Nobel Prize in Physics to that person. So he invented backpropagation, and he borrowed some idea from physics, some calculation, like how calculation works in like physics. He borrowed that from physics, and he applied that in neural network and built the neural network more powerful. So that's why they gave him Nobel Prize. But this innovation is like, let's say 20 years, and the major innovations are happening in deep learning for last 10-15 years only, because this is when more and more people are coming to internet and giving more and more data to these big companies, and like data collection becomes a lot more easier. Unlike previous generation where you have to go door to door and you have to collect data, in this generation, like data collection becomes easier, and training neural network has become easier. So that's why we are seeing lots of innovation in the areas. But especially in the generative AI, as I mentioned earlier also, generative AI is also backed by deep learning only. But one more innovation in deep learning made the breakthrough in generative AI, where computer became the capability to generate new and new information after training by old information. Okay, and the innovation is transformers. So transformers is an architecture, is a way of applying deep learning. It is an architecture, and I think the transformer model came not much, like 7-8 years only. And I think Google published one paper. The paper name, you can read it online. You can download. It is available online. The paper name is like "Attention is all you need." Strange name, like "Attention is all you need." Like some people in Google, I think there was one person called Ashish Vashwani, and some other persons as well. I forgot all the name, but at least 7-8 persons were there. They were working in Google, and they made a new architecture on deep learning, and they published it for the first time in this paper, "Attention is all you need." And the architecture they developed is called transformer. This transformer model applies something called self-attention to make the breakthrough in generative AI. So let's discuss a little bit about those transformer architecture as well. By the way, this ChatGPT is based on transformer model only. ChatGPT is also a deep learning model, but apart from deep learning, the architecture that is following is transformer, the key architecture. ChatGPT is a complex system, so it is not only using transformer models, but lots of other things that it is doing internally that it won't even make it public, because that is, they're running some business, so they won't make everything public. But the key idea behind their work, the key research behind their work is transformer model. Okay. So even before ChatGPT, there was another model called BART, which became popular for some time, maybe more in computer science circle, but not like ChatGPT. ChatGPT became popular like not only in computer science community, but also it is popular like across everyone, right? So everyone is interested in ChatGPT nowadays. So BART is like a precursor of ChatGPT. You can think, and this was built by BART was built by Google, and it was like based on attention model only. Okay, so let's see what this self attention means in context of deep learning. So a few days back, actually, I was reading a philosophy paper by a philosopher called Immanuel Kant, and he was discussing about what is intelligence, right? So maybe you might be thinking intelligence means those who are aware about more things around the world, right? You know more about economy, you know more about politics, you know more about there's a nature. Then you may consider yourself intelligent. But this Immanuel Kant, that person have an unique argument that intelligence sometimes it may feels like external, like knowing about external things, but a big component of intelligence is actually knowing about our own self, right? Knowing about our own limitation, knowing about what we know and what we don't know, that is an essential part of intelligence. You may know some of the things, but if you don't know what you don't know, or if you are not self-aware, if you don't aware about your ignorance, then probably even with some knowledge, you won't be considered intelligent. So that was his idea, and this self-attention is also kind of similar only. This self-attention, the attention is all you need. So the key idea of attention model is become more self-aware. So okay. So maybe I'll give an example. Let's say, let's say text generation system like ChatGPT. Let's say I'm writing a sentence like this. A cat sat on a, let's say I wrote till this point. A cat sat on a. Now what can be the next word? Our mind probably automatically telling us something. Okay, a cat sat on a. It can be window. A cat sat on a window, or a cat sat on a mat, or a cat sat on a road. It can be lots of things, right? When we get this text, when we got this information, we became aware about every details of the sentence. A cat, it means something to us. A cat, okay, it physically looks like this. Sat, that means the cat is sitting somewhere on a. Okay, I became aware about the whole sentence. Maybe it is incomplete, but I became aware about the whole sentence. And then I'm predicting what can be the next word. It can be mat, it can be window. So this is what self-attention is. You are generating something, or you have something already generated, and you are giving more attention to it and predicting the future word. So this prediction part, you can sense this prediction part already people have discovered long time back in traditional AI. What can be the future prediction? I got some word, some sequence of words. These are called tokens actually. In artificial intelligence terms, it is called token. I got some token, and based on the token, I can predict the future. Considering I have access to lots of historical data, I can read all those data, and I can generalize, okay, this word, then the next word can be this. Like the 50% chance that the next word is this, or 100, let's say 90% chance the next word is this. But this self-attention adds one extra layer on top of this prediction, that what are the words that are already used, and considering all the words, if all the words are kind of similar, then what can be the next word? If you can predict the next word, that means you can generate next word, right? And like continuously generating the next word is what ChatGPT is. It is generating new flow of information in its own, predicting based on historical data. Also, it is focusing its attention on what it have already generated. So by introducing this, I know this is complex, but this introducing two-step process. One is predicting based on deep learning, and then prioritizing self-attention. Together makes this generation of new information automatically. Together makes it possible, right? So you can see, like when we pass this prompt to ChatGPT, the ChatGPT breaks it down into multiple tokens. Finally, do something. Internally, do something. It applies the neural network and also the self-attention mechanism to predict the next word, and it keeps generating new and new and new and new words, and it creates new and new content based on historical data. Now this generation, it can be generation based on text data. As I said earlier, computer doesn't care if it is text data, image data, video data, code data. It doesn't care. Everything in computer means number only. Everything got converted to now some number, and computer can process the number, and it can like predict the future number, that is in our word it is future word, future token, and then it can generate something novel, something new. So not only in text data generation, this idea you can apply on image data generation as well. You can create novel and novel information using this process. Okay. So one more thing is like this concept of temperature and creativity. So as I mentioned, so a cat sat on a, you can write window as well, and you can write mat as well. Both makes valid sentence. But maybe if you extrapolate this historical data, most of the time you will see that this when these words came together, right? A cat sat on a mat have a, let's say 80% time you saw that after this mat followed. But let's say 15% of time you saw that it is window. Then obviously mat gets higher priority. So if you always take the higher priority, then you will get a static historical data, right? Someone already wrote this sentence, a cat sat on a mat. Then your like ChatGPT will also generate the same thing, a cat sat on a mat. Nothing creative, right? Same kind of memorizing thing. So if you lower the temperature is a parameter. So if you lower this temperature, that means ChatGPT or this any generative model will take the high probability word. That will make your text less creative. But if you allow your model to keep more and more creative things, that means some occasionally take some lower priority word as well by increasing this temperature higher. Temperature is a number, it is a parameter. Then your outcome will be more generative. Maybe someone have never seen something like a cat sat on a window watching a butterfly. So maybe no one generated this, but ChatGPT can generate it creatively if internally like ChatGPT is allowing higher temperature data. Okay. So this is one thing. Temperature is one thing. It allows creativity. Like this like increasing or decreasing temperature parameter help you to like make things more creative or less creative. And there is another thing. Sometimes like this data, like these models are trained on historical data. Right? So you have lots of historical data, but some data can be proprietary, like some private companies owning it. For example, let's say Amazon have lots of customer data, but probably they won't share it with ChatGPT or OpenAI. The parent company of ChatGPT is OpenAI. So Amazon won't share all the privately held information with ChatGPT. Now, if let's say Amazon wants to build a system to make new and new advertisement using ChatGPT, then Amazon needs to feed its own information to ChatGPT model. Right? So this transformer architecture is one big thing, one big software kind of thing you can imagine. Some very large model, let's say 100 GB, 200 GB of model. So Amazon can download this whole thing if ChatGPT or OpenAI allows it. And Amazon can feed its own data to this new model, to this like already trained model, and it can make it understand what this customer data means. Right? This step is called fine tuning. Something is trained on generic internet publicly available information. You are taking that model and you are feeding your own proprietary data to that model, and you are making the model more and more customized for your own business use cases. That is called fine tuning. So fine tuning, modifying temperature, like increasing, decreasing temperature to allow for creative thinking, is something you can explore more independently, but this is something that are there in these big models. Okay. Okay. So few more things. Like obviously, generative AI has its own limitation. So one big problem of ChatGPT or any such generative AI tool is it can lie and it can confidently lie. So we are giving the capacity to creatively think, right? And sometimes allowing something to think creatively is nothing but allowing something to lie creatively, right? So let's say someone is writing a novel. That is a like novel, or let's say poetry, or let's say some story, like some writing some short story. They are like some creative, like some lies written in creative way, right? So any short story is a lie. It's a lie written in a creative way, or let's say fiction story. It is a lie that is written in a creative way. Now, generative AI have the capacity to generate new information, but sometimes the information that it is generating can be a lie, may not reflect the real world, right? And may not accurately represent something, but still it will confidently say something that, okay, this means this. So generative AI has this limitation. It lies creatively and sometimes it hallucinates. I think current days, in last 1 year, these generative AI models have significantly reduced hallucination, but the hallucination is still there, and it was bigger in like in 1 year, 2 year back. And hallucination is nothing but, let's say, some person who has less memory, uh, and that person was discussing something, and like after some time, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, the person forget about what he was discussing in the beginning, but he started discussing about something completely new, right? So hallucination is nothing but like continuously moving context without concretely giving some answer. So that is one problem that generative models had, and it is significantly improving over time. Like less and less hallucinations are there in the recent models, but it is still there. Even human do hallucination, but when you are building machine, we don't want hallucinations to happen. So that is something, a big chunk of work is going on in the industry to reduce hallucination. And one more thing, so there are ethical concerns as well. Even in this Ghibli trend, you can see, right? So these Ghibli images, like there is a agency in Japan. They own all the copyrights of these Ghibli images, the Ghibli agency basically. Now, this OpenAI, this ChatGPT, read all the informations available online, obviously, which will also have all the Ghibli images as well. And they train their model so that anyone can convert some image to a Ghibli image. Now, one thing is, it is good that some people are able to make something creative. They don't have to like spend money. They don't have to give money to Ghibli Studio for generating hyper realistic, or let's say this anime style images. On the other hand, this is a copyright violation, right? So, because OpenAI is using copyrighted data. So this is a big problem, and so sometimes it can cause legal problem as well. Like if you are training, you're fine tuning your model with publicly available data, and unknowingly those publicly available data are copyrighted, then they can sue you. So that is a problem. Another thing is like these generative AI models, they have capacity to lie, and lie kind of confidently. You can generate content that is a lie, and you can circulate online, and it can have dire consequences. Right? So it can have large scale societal impact as well. So not only like generative AI models, any big technology is groundbreaking. They will create lots of opportunities, but whenever something has very big power, right, they also have power to damages something as well. So we have to be careful when we are dealing with generative AI things, because sometimes it can have societal impact. There can be copyright issue, there can be ownership concern, there can be authenticity and trust concern. So we have to be careful to handle these powerful things. Okay, so finally, how to get started with AI. So this is just the beginning. This is just the bird's eye view of AI. There are lots of work going on in AI community. ChatGPT is obviously one that got public attention. but there is a big community called Hugging Face, where you will get all the publicly available like AI model. For example, ChatGPT won't give you model to fine tune for free. They give it to enterprise users. They earn money using that. But some models are publicly available, free of cost, so you can download and you can play with that. You can install it in your own machine and you can play with it. For example, Hugging Face is a central repository where like you'll find lots of AI models that are like pre-trained AI models. So you can download them or fine tune them. Most of the time you will need a very large compute. For example, you will need a GPU or very high amount of RAM. But some of the models you can like even install in your own computer and you can run. Maybe the models will be slow, but it will be free of cost. You will be able to download and install and play with it. So there are like ChatGPT, Pose, then there are Character AI, there are Google Gemini, then Elon Musk have this Grok AI. So lots of things to explore. For tutorial, you can explore Fast AI. So lots of things you can explore in this domain. And this is a big, huge domain, right? I think recently, I don't know if you have seen it or not, but even US government is going to invest $500 billion in AI. ChatGPT is now $30 billion company. And some companies, for example, Perplexity AI, they are also relying on OpenAI, like generative AI only. It is a $10 billion company. Every companies are prioritizing generative AI nowadays. So if you want to go to industry and you want to meaningfully contribute to this large scale projects, you need AI as a tool. So it is always good to explore all these things, not only these bird's eye views, but gain more inner level details, more lower level details. It will always help you. And this is the best time to explore these things. So it's a revolution is going on currently. Okay, so finally, let me just quickly give you a demo. So I think we still have 23 minutes. So maybe I'll just spend 7 minutes, 6-7 minutes on this demo, and then finally we can go to the Q&A session. So let me come on these slides. Okay, I can see lots of hands and lots of comments as well. I'll answer them, but let me finish. Then I'll try to answer as many as possible. Okay, so my screen is visible. I'm opening ChatGPT. So this chatgpt.com. So so you can see it is giving me a prompt. Like you can ask anything here. I can also select some of the things, for example, search, reason, deep research, create image, lots of things. I'll come to all those points, but let me give the prompt as that cat example. Let's see what ChatGPT is doing. Is it directly giving a cat sat on a mat? Then that means ChatGPT is not very creative. A cat, because it is a very common word, a cat sat on a. I'm not completing it. I'm just entering it. So it wrote something creative. That means the temperature set was like low for ChatGPT. So a cat sat on a windowsill watching the world go by with sleepy eyes. That sounds very creative, right? So a cat is sitting on the window side and then like looking at the world in a sleepy eyes. So you can see this is kind of like predicting next word. So this till this point I have already given. Then ChatGPT actually extrapolate all the historical data, and it saw that maybe mat can be one word that I can select, or maybe window can be one word I can select, or window sill can be one I can select. And the self-attention part of the ChatGPT that is working internally only, it is actually focusing on all the words, not only the sequence of words. Like after A, it can be anything. There are lots of words that can be after A. But if you carefully give attention to all the words, then the next word prediction might be more meaningful. So there is a possibility that, let's say, ChatGPT identified internally, it identified 30% possibility of mat, 25% possibility of windowsill, or let's say 15% possibility of window, 15% possibility of road, and ChatGPT randomly selected some of the best only. It's a windowsill. That means this whole thing is done. Now the next part prediction comes. It happens following the same pattern only. It again see all the context, the self-awareness part, and again based on historical data and the closeness, like after attentively looking into all the data, it will also predict the next word as watching. And this way it keep predicting and keep writing, completing the whole sentence. So this is how ChatGPT is working. Now ChatGPT can generate not only this text, it can generate code as well. Let's say I'm writing, give me a code to give me a code that predict stock price of Amazon. I have given a query. Someone already might have predicted, like might have wrote code to predict stock price of Amazon. ChatGPT already extrapolated this data, and that those deep learning models already have those information embedded in those models. And now using the self-attention mechanism, it is keep predicting future words, and also it is keep looking the previous collection of words, and it is keep generating all the new and new words. And finally, you can see it is even generating the code also. Majority of the time, you'll see that the code is working. Sometimes you'll see that the code is not working because, as I said, the hallucination problem is still there. Sometimes it lies, and it lies kind of confidently. But still, it is pretty useful. It will give you some direction. If you take this ChatGPT as your kind of assistant, then you'll know lots of things. Like you'll be able to explore lots of things really quickly. But it is just a glorified, after all, it is just a glorified next word predictor only. I mean, it is surprising, like how even like something such simple as next word predictor gives information so beautifully. And it does because the data that OpenAI have extrapolated, it is huge. I can show you like how many parameters OpenAI ChatGPT, the recent ChatGPT O1 model, let's say. Sorry, ChatGPT O1 model. Let's say O1 mini model. It is one of the recent versions of ChatGPT. Numbers of parameters. I'm just seeing how many parameters they have recently introduced. So around 300 billions of parameters. These parameters are nothing but how many neurons they have in their neural network. This is a very large number. Like 300 billion parameters are very large number. And they have the next word predictor, they have encapsulated, they have captured in that neural network model that have 300 billions of neurons. Huge. And then they are using self-attention mechanism to keep predicting future word, and they are generating new and new meaningful content using those techniques. So even if so lots of models are coming. Initially it was only self-attention. Nowadays they are introducing some additional capability. Let's say you are searching something. That is one kind of thing, right? Searching. Let's say I'm searching what is the NVIDIA stock price. Let's say I'm searching for this information. This is a searching, right? So searching, you can see this searching came from marketwatch.com website, then inmoney.com website, then cnbctv18.com website. So this information came from some sources. So they have customized search. Also, reasoning also they have optimized. This is something I think we can discuss. This is interesting. So let's say how many R is there in Raspberry. This is not accessing internet, instead counting the numbers of R in Raspberry. Right? That is nothing but 3 here. So if I prompt this, in this case, it is no longer like accessing internet and searching for information. This is more like reasoning, counting. It is checking, okay, R. There are total 3 R's. So it is saying there are total 3 R's. So this reasoning was earlier not there in ChatGPT. I mean, it was there, but it was not very strong. And for some time, this ChatGPT was giving for Raspberry, there are 2 R's, which is wrong, but it corrected it. Especially like you might have seen this DeepSeek, right? This DeepSeek made a model that is good for this kind of logical reasoning. ChatGPT quickly catch up them, but still, like this reasoning is something that is one layer ahead of this generating part only. And then there is deep research. As I mentioned, like some of the information ChatGPT directly trained on, but it is not trained based on all data. For example, let's say you are in a very niche area. Let's say you are in a physics department, and let's say you are doing deep research on physics, and you want to know what you want to know, explain black hole has no hair theorem to me. This is not something common. If you are interested in cosmology, then you may have heard this term, black hole has no hair. It is a theorem in like cosmology, but this is not something common. Like not many people are aware about it. So even ChatGPT won't be able to instantly access this information. Rather, if I click on this deep research, it will go to those research papers, it will read and it will generalize and it will explain me those information. Okay. It is asking, should I give you full technical explanation? I'll see, okay, give full technical explanation. So it will go to somewhere, some sources, some authentic sources where research papers are there. It will take some time and it will gather all those information. It will do deep research. Very useful for research purposes as well. And finally, you have image generation as well in Ghibli Art Trend. So I'm not generating it. This is not ChatGPT Pro version. I have ChatGPT Pro version, but that is in my office laptop, so I won't be able to show that. But I think we get one free access of ChatGPT image generation. So I give this prompt just few minutes back, just before starting this session. So create an image where Einstein is playing violin. And you can see it took some time to me, like 2 minutes around, and it generated a very realistic image of Einstein playing violin. So if you have ChatGPT Pro, then you'll get you'll be able to create multiple such images. But otherwise, I think every day, I'm not sure, every day probably one you can generate, or every day 3 you can generate, not more than that. So yeah, so I think that's all about generative AI. So we can come to the quick Q&A sessions.
Okay. So, Saurav, what we can do is you can stop sharing your screen. I'll keep reading out the questions from the Q&A.
Yeah.
And you can answer them.
Yep, sure.
Okay. So, is everybody able to access the Q&A part in the Google Meet? Just send a thumbs up reaction. Okay, so to all those who can't access, just click on the meeting tools, the dots, 9 dots on the bottom right corner of the Google meeting, and you will see Q&A over there. And you can start writing your questions. Okay, so we have one question from Sanskar Rajput, Saurav. Does ChatGPT use thread to do the parallel computing?
Okay, so yeah, so ChatGPT do use thread, because thread is something very common for parallel processing, right? But remember, thread is only for single machine only. you have your machine, and in your machine you can have multiple core. For example, you can have dual core processor, octa core processor. And if you are using the concept of threading in your machine, you can like do multiple things parallelly. But the thing about ChatGPT is it is a very large model, and they are not using one computer. Instead, they are using hundreds of thousands of GPU. So some parallel processing is going on in each computer as well. But at the same time, the concept of distributed computation, distributed system design are also applied to like split multiple tasks into multiple computer and doing processing there, and then collecting all the results and making a uniform answer out of it. So it is doing thread, it is doing, but more than thread, it is using GPU, as well as it is applying the concept of distributed system to parallelize it massively across many machines.
Got it. Thank you, Saurav. I hope that answers your question, Sanskar. So the next question is, how can I use AI to speed up my web development work? The question is from Sarvesh.
Yeah, so I think, so if you are developing web, especially let's say you are writing something in HTML, CSS, then obviously like you can go a little deeper and you can write something in JavaScript, write backend in different frameworks. But the thing is, like, the most useful part will be to generate code. So you can write some prompt that, okay, I want a button. Let's say you are working in React. Let's say you want a button, and the button color should be this, and the button click event should be that. You can you can describe all these to ChatGPT or any other generative AI model, and they will give you the code. Maybe that code is not 100% right, but with little exploration, you will know where the mistake is, and you can rectify it, and you can quickly make the feature. So it will it will cut down your development time significantly.
Got it. So the next question is, please suggest some beginner level GenAI project for learning and to put it on the resume. This question is from Yuvraj.
Okay, so generative AI, maybe what I can think. So I can think about this. This is the project, something I have worked. So maybe like, let's say you can get some data from Kaggle. So Kaggle is a platform where actually they host lots of data science project. So you can pick a project, and let's say you want to generate. Let's say you found some data. Lots of data you'll have. I'm just giving one example. Let's say you gathered the data about this housing price. And then let's say you want to generate some customized ad, taking the data into consideration. That, okay, this house has this feature, and you want to create an ad, and you want to show it to some user. That is one example. So this is something you can do. You need data. You need some model like ChatGPT or Gemini or DeepSeek, and you can like train your data to build something like that. Maybe it will be a toy example only, but you can explore. But lots of other projects also you'll find in Kaggle. So I would highly recommend go to Kaggle and see what are the other project people are doing.
Okay, thank you, Saurav. Yuvraj, I've dropped the link of Kaggle in the chat. You can definitely visit the website and check it out. We have a lot of questions, so we'll quickly move to the next one. Aniket is asking, can I get the recording as I was joined late? Yes, Aniket, we'll share the recording and your certificates by Monday. So you can access the recording on Monday. So next question is from Gudapati Shreyas. On a longer scale of things, what kind of impact would GenAI have on educational sector? Please highlight the negative and positive impacts of it.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, education, like any other sectors, education sector will also get impacted by generative AI. So especially, I think we all have seen, right? So this MOOC, like massive open online courses, they are not very popular in earlier days. And like it was not there at all. But like with the advent of internet, we are seeing lots of MOOC. But the problem with these MOOC platforms are that like you cannot interact with your instructor. You can like watch some videos, but you cannot interact. But with GenAI, now if you have any question, you can ask to a GenAI chat system, and it will give you the answer. So that is a huge thing, because you will get the high quality content that is not always available in all colleges or universities. You will get high quality content, also high quality interaction, and that I think is will significantly impact education. That is one positive thing. Another one negative thing I can imagine is lots of time what we are doing is to save time. We are going into ChatGPT and we are generating things and we are not carefully thinking about it. So that might impact our creative thinking skill. That is also important. We should use ChatGPT, we should use generative AI tool, but also we should also, be careful about thinking creatively about things in our own way. We should not blindly follow something. So that is one negative side. Lots of people are not focusing too much and just blindly following ChatGPT and also copying assignment from ChatGPT and doing lots of things. So those can be negative things.
Okay. Thank you, Saurav. So the next question is from Santosh. Why do the big companies gather data? So it's
Because
interesting.
this is interesting. So why big companies gather data? So the more data is nothing but capturing market. So the more data you have, the more smoothly you can run your business. I'm giving you one example. Let's say I have built a company. I can give Google that give me advertisement. I'm giving you, let's say, $100,000. Give me advertisement to 1 million people. Now, if I have data that who can be the potential customer, then I can also, if I additionally give this data to Google, then with the same $100,000, instead of 1 million, Google can optimize it and give the ad in such a way that we are getting more conversion out of the advertisement. So the more data you have, the more insight you have about the business, the more you will be able to grow fast. That is the goal of all companies.
Okay, got it. Thank you, Saurav. So we'll move to the next question by Alfin. How does ChatGPT give response in a short period of time, since there are many users accessing the GPT at the same time?
Yeah. So this is an interesting question. So there will be multiple things in place. For example, so lots of these text generations are very common, right? So, for example, give stock price prediction for Amazon. Let's say many people are asking for this information, or how many are in Raspberry. This is something very common. So for this commonly asked question, it can store the response in something called cache memory, which is super fast, which will instantly give the answer. It can have ChatGPT also have lots of computers, right? Hundreds of thousands of computers, and maybe each model is actually when you are clicking on something, your data is going to one set of computers, another person's requests are going to another set of computers and giving the response quickly. That can be another improvement. Also, if you see this DeepSeek innovation, they have made something called mixture of expert model. So basically, let's say you are more interested in mathematical stuff. Then if you ask something to ChatGPT, the request will get routed to more mathematical, will routed to the computer that are more capable of doing mathematical stuff. And if you are asking something generic, then they will get routed to another set of computers. So multiple optimization is possible. I don't know what internally ChatGPT is doing, but there are multiple optimization possible.
Okay, so I hope that answers your question, Alfin. Next question is from Ravi Ranjan. Can you explain how temperature affects the generation at architecture level?
So it is not an architectural level things. Architecture will give you the next word prediction probability. Now, what particular probability you want to select? Let's say your next word prediction, you got 3 case. Let's say cat sat on a mat, then window, then let's say road. All of them, our model gave the probability. Now, which one to select? Always you want to select the higher probability one. That will give you boring answer. If you give some randomness here, like occasionally pick the little lower probability as well, that will give you more creative answers. And temperature is the number you increase, decrease the temperature. Based on that, it will increase and decrease the probability of picking the higher import, like the higher probability or lower probability next words or next tokens.
Okay, hope that answers your question, Ravi. Moving to the next one. So this is an interesting question, Saurav, by Manmeet. Is future of AI going to replace developers?
Interesting question, but I don't think it is going to replace developer. This is my personal opinion. Lots of people have different opinion, but my personal opinion is it is not going to replace a developer. Instead, it is going to it is definitely going to replace the developers who don't know generative AI. But those who know generative AI and also know how to develop, they will gain more power. And like people who are doing business, like they don't know the lower level things. They don't know the technology, lower level technology. At the end, developer have to build. Even if you are using ChatGPT, developer have to build. So I don't think developers will get replaced, but the skill set that is needed by a developer need a boost. They need to include ChatGPT, not only ChatGPT, all AI tools, they need to include in their toolkit.
Got it. So the next question is from Mohammed Faizul. How can hallucinations be avoided in GenAI?
Okay, so I don't know how this ChatGPT is doing it. They won't tell you. They are not open source, but I think so. This hallucination is the context window, right? So earlier ChatGPT had this context window. Let's say at most you can generate, let's say 2000 tokens, not more than that. But now ChatGPT is allowing more tokens, but maybe they are building expert model internally. So basically, let's say one model is doing, let's say 2000 tokens, generating 2000 tokens, taking that thing into priority. Another model is actually like generating the next 2000 more tokens. Together, it feels like it is generating 4000 tokens accurately without losing context, but internally multiple models are working together to achieve it. I think that is one way hallucinations can be avoided. But interesting question. I also want to explore it further, especially how DeepSeek is doing it, because that is open source. So yeah, I'm also interested to explore further in this question. Yeah.
Okay, so we have a question from Chintamani Santosh Kumar. How can GenAI be used to augment or enhance human creativity?
Okay, so human creativity, I don't know exactly how human creativity will be enhanced, but what I feel is like, especially in like art side, you can explore. AI arts are not that good. Obviously, like you see like art generated by some top performers, um, like AI generated art won't be good. It is creative, but it is creative in its own way. It is not that creative from like from art side. But still, let's say you are generating some art. Let's say you want to like give some like let's say you are making some, let's say like audio processing, and you want to process the audio in certain way. You can always like ask ChatGPT that I want to do this, do that. How can I do this? ChatGPT can give you recommendation. Based on that, you can do whatever you are doing. You can do in a better way. That is one way I can see. But directly, ChatGPT is giving you a very creative thing that is like going to replace the best things that are there generated by human. I don't think immediately that will get replaced, but maybe in some days, like AI will also catch up.
Got it. So we have the next question from Dharmendra. What is the max number of times that AI can generate unique response of the same prompt?
What is the max number? What?
So what is the max number of times that AI can generate unique response of the same prompt?
There is no limitation, because online have petabytes of data, and you always have uniqueness. Like the probability of, let's say, next probability is, let's say 10 token you have. You can choose any one of them. Once you have chosen, the next token can be another, let's say 10 probability. Obviously, it will be more than 10. But just see how it is growing. 10 probability, 10 possibility, then 10 more. That means 10 multiplied by 10 possibilities. So it is growing exponentially. So if you are generating a text of 100 length, that is around 10 to the power 10 probability. And just one thing I want to tell from physics, we know that in the universe, there are 10 to the power 8, 10 to the power 80 numbers of electron, proton, and neutron. And only when you are generating 100 tokens, you got the probability 10 to the power 100. 100 tokens, the probable sentences out of them is 10 to the power 100. That is more than the net particles, net electron, proton, neutron available in the visible universe. That is huge, right? That is practically infinity only. There is no limit.
Got it. Got it. So hope that answers your question. The next question is from Sumit Kumar. This is a nice question. How to write a prompt to generate the best code? Because it gives me less code and that is not useful for me.
Okay, I mean, you have to keep giving better prompt. Like you, as I said it, so you have to be careful when you are using AI generated stuff. You need to know like what the code is doing. And if you know where the issue is, then you can ask the AI again that, okay, this is something I know, this is the issue, fix it. Then probably I will try to give you better answer. With the advent of better and better model, these problems are like incrementally getting resolved. I think recently for coding, I'm using Cursor, and in Cursor, I'm seeing it is significantly improved version of ChatGPT. It is not internally using ChatGPT, but using Claude. Claude is another model, and it is giving far better code to me. So you can either go to better model, or you can keep just pushing ChatGPT to keep correct things again and again.
Got it. So we have another question from Kushagra. So he says, Sourov, great session. Thank you, Kushagra. We are glad that you liked it. So he says that you told that ChatGPT is basically predicting on historical data only, but it also keeps the context of what is being discussed. So this prediction is generation itself. Am I understanding it correctly? Or is everything new generated is basically a historical data?
So one thing is, if you are not aware about your context, then you will generate something random, right? So you are generating things. What is the next word you saw in historical data? What is the next word you see in historical data? You will quickly lose context, and you will end up having a sentence, a complete sentence with lots of words based on historical data. It is generated, but it is not something meaningful. So predicting future token is one. But again, being context aware and predicting future, that is one step ahead. And together, both things together will help you to generate something that is meaningful, not meaningless. Okay.
Got it. So the next question is from Alfin. Can we get ChatGPT API to use for some of our work purpose to create some platform based on private data?
Yeah, you can use ChatGPT API, and you can fine tune based on your own data, but that is a little costly because ChatGPT won't give you free of cost. But what you can do is you can like go to Gradient. Gradient is another platform. There you will get some similar model, for example, Llama 3 basically, and then DeepSeek. You can install there in their like in Gradient's platform, and you can access their API. I think Gradient API will be like mostly free for like basic purpose only. For advanced purpose, it will be costly, but for basic purpose, it will be free. And one more thing you can do is you can install the mini version of this DeepSeek, which you will be able to install in your machine. If you have a good amount of RAM, for example, 1632 GB of RAM, if you have in your machine, you'll be able to install it in your own machine only. Then you'll be able to do whatever you want.
Okay. So we have the next question from Aniket. How can I use GenAI in computer vision? Can you please suggest any beginner-friendly project in the same?
Okay, I mean, you can like generative AI is also like closely related to computer vision as well, right? So, for example, these driverless cars are using these deep learning models to like identify all the patterns in the road and like taking decision on what to do. So, deep learning has lots of use cases. Then generative AI, I'm not exactly sure, like generative AI, you can generate something and you can apply it or not. But yeah, I mean, uh, generative itself, like generative part itself, I'm not sure, but predictive part, lots of use cases are there. Like the core deep learning model, you can apply to predict pattern, or you apply to factory automation. Like nowadays, lots of factory automation is happening, right? So factories are working in an automated fashion, and people are not doing things manually, but machines are doing in an automated way. And lots of factories are even like, by seeing this, lots of factories are going completely dark. For example, in China, I am seeing this Xiaomi mobile, their factories are completely dark, no light, nothing. These AI models and all, they are actually like automating whole the infrastructure that is needed to build smartphones. So I can see deep learning has lots of use cases, especially like generative AI. I don't see much use cases, but yeah.
Okay, so we have a question from Varsha. Sir, where should I start to learn AI completely to get a job?
Okay, so I mean, the one thing is you can go to YouTube and you can see some tutorial. In YouTube, you'll find Andrew Ng. He's a professor of Stanford, and I mean, he's very good at explaining this AI related stuff. So you can follow him, and also you can go to some like online platforms also, Udemy, Coursera, then Fast AI. These are platforms where you can study. But at the same time, I'd say like learn Python. Python is the core language that is used in AI. So learn Python, learn how to handle data, how to analyze data, and at the same time learn about artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning, and parallelly keep seeing the industry trend, how industry is moving, because what you are currently studying, maybe in one year, so something else will become trendy. So keep an eye open and learn kind of adaptively.
Okay, thank you. So the next question is from Akanksha. How does ChatGPT internally decide the next word while generating long answers?
Yeah. As I said, ChatGPT have access to historical data. So cat sat on a mat. This is a commonly word text, and ChatGPT also saw somewhere in its historical data. So based on that, it can predict automatically. Or ChatGPT also saw somewhere that a cat sat on a window. That also it can take into consideration for generating the next word probability. Once the probability is known based on historical data, then the next issue is like just being context aware, that is self attention, and then like apply proper temperature to predict the proper word.
Got it. So the next question is from Aniket Mukherjee. How safe and secure is ChatGPT when handling user data?
I mean, all these big companies are like secure. They won't use your personal data. That is something like they have as part of their regulatory constraints. Especially, it is true for European region. So in Europe, they have lots of regulation, and they cannot take your personal data without your consent. But still, like it is better to not give very critical information to them, because you never know, like someone is like having uh, like some malicious purpose using, even it can be a employee of the OpenAI, right? So better to not give all the secret data, but still it is till some degree it is safe.
Got it. So the next question is from Yuvraj. Is this a fact or a myth that AI will lead to layoffs and future recession for core coders, that are programmers?
Okay. Generally, like layoff will be there, but hiring will also be there. It is just a shift. It is just a paradigm shift. The industry is moving from like one particular way of doing things to another particular way of doing things. So definitely there will be layoff, but there will be more hiring as well, and it will overall improves people productivity. So people will get paid more, is what I believe.
Okay. So the next question is, can I use ChatGPT to learn about the information security? As you earlier mentioned, sometimes ChatGPT hallucinates and tells lies.
Yeah, I mean, you can always refer ChatGPT. 99% time it will be valid only, but to cross-check, you can always validate from some like authentic source, for example, some book or research papers as well, if it is very critical to you.
Got it. Okay. So the next question is from Sameta Hemant. Is ChatGPT Can ChatGPT be turned to an agent? Now it is only generating content. In future, we can expect that.
Yeah, like not in future, even current days also ChatGPT or like the generative AI models are becoming agents. Right? So there is something called RAG, and you can build agent that can do like work as you want. For example, this Carshare or GitHub Copilot, right? So they can not only generate new content, but they can also modify, like go to your code base, modify things, suggest something new, fix bug. So they are like a agentic only. They are not only generating things, they are also like doing some activity as well.
Okay. So we have an interesting question from Pratyusha. What are the current limitations of ChatGPT?
That limitation is it hallucinates, and occasionally it also won't give you the appropriate answer. So sometimes it can give you wrong answer, and it sometimes it can give you like for example, if you are generating code, sometimes it can give some bug that will impact your project tremendously. So be careful with all this. It is a good like assistant, but don't completely rely on your assistant. Use your own intelligence as well.
Okay. So the next question is from Aniket. What is the difference between training and fine-tuning a model like ChatGPT?
Training is for the first time where we are building the model. So you have a blank neural network, random, nothing is, no informative things is encoded inside neural network. You gathered petabytes of data from online and you train the model, and it have no special knowledge. You don't know anything about your own use case. You don't know anything about Amazon's internal business or Google's internal business, but it knows something generic. Now, let's say you want to customize it and you want to make it expert in medical industry. That means you have to fine tune. You have to feed more and more medical data, authentic medical data, so that it can predict medical information more in a better way. So that is the fine tuning part.
Got it. So we have another question from Kathan Patel. Sir, is it possible AI will have curiosity and create their own unique response without any data? Is it possible?
I mean, this is an old question that AI will get consciousness or not. I mean, at this point, no one even know what consciousness means, like what it even means that we are conscious, we know, we are aware, like what life means, no one knows, right? So I don't know. Maybe it can generate in a novel way. It can independently ask us some question and then we can answer, then it can respond. But like it is not, it itself is not conscious, or it may be conscious. I don't know what is the definition of conscious. No one knows. It is a debatable area.
Right, makes sense completely. So Saurav, Sonali is asking, could you once repeat the AI YouTube channel name? Can you write that name in the chat once?
Yeah. So the professor's name is Andrew Ng, and he teaches in Stanford. So you'll get more in-depth courses in Stanford channel. And also you can see the same little lightweight version you'll be able to see in Coursera.
Okay. So the next question is from Santosh. How AI is used in database technology like ETL technology of storing data?
Okay, I mean, ETL technologies are not like directly like getting benefited from generative AI. Rather, generative AIs are like built using these ETL technologies of work, because this ETL means extract, transform, load, right? So this is a way, this is a framework how you gather data. Like this big industry gather data by following this ETL framework. Now, once you gather the data, the next step is like building this machine learning model. So ETL technology is one thing, generative AI is another thing. They are dependent on each other, but especially in ETL technology improvement, I don't think it is like directly relevant. More relevant are the this different frameworks. So for example, MapReduce, Apache Spark. These are more ETL technology kind of things, but they are not generative AI. They are like distributed computing concepts.
Okay, so we have another interesting question from Dinesh. I searched something on Amazon and then I start getting its ads on Instagram or other applications. Is it also AI related?
Yeah, that is AI related, and I actually have closely worked on this side. So it is AI related. Sometimes it is rule based. Sometimes it is AI related. Like when you basically go to Amazon, right? Amazon.com. So your browser, this Chrome, this browser stores something called cookies. So this cookies knows that you visited Amazon and you visited this product. And then your browser is owned by Google. Now you are using Google Ads, right? The ad network is Google. Now this Google tracks this information that you visited Amazon and you saw this product. Now Google tells this Amazon's advertisement that, okay, this person visited this, so we may need to provide more information as part of Google Ads or Instagram ads. Basically, using these cookies only, the information gets shared. Sometimes generative AIs are used especially to give you customized, like based on your interest, giving you customized advertisement. But sometimes it is plain old rule only that, okay, we got this information in cookies via Amazon.com. That means using the cookies, I'll also show the information, relevant information to you in Instagram.
Okay, so we have another interesting question from Ankit. So Ankit wants to ask, until when can we expect India to launch its own model like GPT? Because China created DeepSeek in short time and also competitive. So what stops India till now to achieve this? What are your thoughts, Sourav, on this?
Okay, this is interesting. I don't have straightforward answer, but what I believe is, like Indian like VC ecosystem. VC means the venture capitalist who invest in a project. So like India have a tendency to invest more in service-based companies. So basically provide some service and earn quick money. So we have this tendency in India that we always want to earn quick money, but we don't think very long term. So this deep technologies, right? For example, ChatGPT, when they started, they didn't knew that they will succeed. They didn't have any like guarantee that they would be able to make money. So so venture capitalists need to invest more monies so that more entrepreneurs can explore new novel area. I think in that case, even India will also foster in this domain.
Okay, so another question from Pratibha. Saurav, it's for you since you're working at Deliveroo. How is AI at Deliveroo, especially generative AI, being used to improve logistics, delivery predictions, or customer service?
So customer service nowadays, like chatbots are kind of like powered by ChatGPT only. So that is one thing. It is like saving lots of like cost to those companies. Generating advertisement, that is again while we are heavily using generative AIs, and not only that, see internally to improve these customer experiences and all, we are gathering all the useful insights. Like customers create tickets, customers share lots of their experiences. So we use generative AI models to actually see like what they are interested in, what are the key things we should focus on. So it is like use cases are everywhere. And especially in Amazon, I saw, as in Amazon also, in Amazon, I saw like Amazon have this big cloud technology, right? So Amazon Web Service, AWS. And they are actually giving the platform to train generative AIs. So if you want to build your own generative AI model, like they will give the platform to you. So they are core business. They are doing billions of business using like generative AI alone.
Got it. So, Mohammed Nishat, could you please again write your question? I couldn't understand. In the meantime, we have another question from Kareem. So he has an interesting question for you, Saurav. how can we make a fully automated AI model for quick commerce digital marketing, like making campaigns, do optimization, target audience according to the market trends? So Kareem says, I was using quick learning algorithm for optimization, DNN for prediction. How can I improve this? Suggest me some libraries or tools.
Okay. I mean, generative AI directly won't help you to like workflow automation. That is still a like manual work only. I mean, you have to write the code to automate all your workflows if you want to automate. Some tools will be provided, like if you are not willing to write codes, some kind of automation some companies will provide. But if you need fine-grained control over your campaign managements and all, you still need you need to write your own code and you need to write your own framework. But the thing is, like the writing code part becomes simple with generative AI.
Got it. Thank you, Saurav. So we are running short in time, all the participants. So we'll take 5 more questions and we'll wrap it up quickly. So Payal wants to ask, can ChatGPT also create 3D model? And it can affect the jobs. Payal, could you please write the question again? I couldn't understand. Till then, we'll take the next question from Shifa. How does ChatGPT avoid generating harmful or biased content? Saurav.
Okay, yeah. So it has filter. For example, if it sees some, it internally have some database that, okay, so this word means bad, that word means bad. So every time like you are like asking something, if your prompt contains those key words, then ChatGPT won't give you the response. So it will kind of filter all your requests. But there are some ways to actually to generate harmful information using ChatGPT. You can explore this. It is called jailbreaking, and lots of people are doing jailbreaking by some encoding technique. I'm not go into too much details there, but jailbreaking is an interesting area you can explore. Even like you can, you with the idea of jailbreaking, you'll be able to bypass ChatGPT's filter.
Got it. So next question is from Aniket. Andrew NG lectures are math heavy. So do we need to learn that deeply to get a job, Saurav?
Okay. I mean, it is good to know all the mathematical stuff, but not a hard requirement. So, so if you see these companies, like the big companies especially, if you see the requirement they have, like they generally have this round, like design machine learning system round. Especially you are like going into machine learning side. They have a round for machine learning system design. And there you don't need much math, but still you need to know what this model are capable of, so that you can like show that you can appropriately use this model as and when needed. So even though you are not interested in math that much, you need to prepare that way, that you are capable of understanding what each model is doing, and to solve a problem, how you can apply this model to solve the problem.
Got it. Next question is from Dharmendra. It's an interesting question for you, Saurabh. What will be the scenario of AI in the world of Web3 internet? Everything will be decentralized over the internet, and how will the AI be trained?
I mean, AI is still not decentralized. Still, these big companies are like training and building the model. So AI is still like the generative AI models itself is not decentralized. And I don't think it is going to be, unlike Bitcoins and others, I don't think it is going to be decentralized soon. Because like it needs some financial motivation as well, right? So you cannot just like Bitcoin have a unified framework, like how you make secure payment possible. But like this generative AI models have no framework. It is internally using deep learning transformer model, the attention mechanism, but it has no central framework. So many people can do it in different ways. And it won't be like decentralized in my understanding at least. But obviously to learn more about these different domains, the knowledge gaining part, this generative AI models have made it simpler. So you can explore things, learn things faster. but I don't directly see a clash between generative AI side and the Web3 side.
Okay, so we'll take two more questions, Saurav. So there's a question from Santosh. He wants to ask, is there any possibility in AI that helps to retrieve data from a database or a cloud?
I mean, the GPT will kind of if the question is something like this, that the agent will go to database and bring the data. The answer is yes. You can build agent that will like make an API call and it will gather some information from either cloud or some local databases. That is possible. That is totally possible.
Got it. So one last question we'll take, Saurav. It's from Yusuf. Hi, can you please share a roadmap to learn Gen AI?
Okay. I mean, first study. If you are going to study from scratch, and if you want to really be good at it, then first recommendation is start from linear algebra, because this is the mathematical foundation of all this machine learning, deep learning, everything. So study linear algebra, then study the classical ML, for example, this basic, the old generation AI models. For example, linear regression. What linear regression means? What perceptron is? What let's say gradient descent is? What is random forest? What is support vector machine? These are classical ML ideas. Then study about artificial neural network and start focusing more on deep learning. So once you gain more knowledge in deep learning, then start about this attention mechanism, transformer model, and then like start reading papers or start reading Medium blogs. Like at some point, you won't have to refer to some tutorial. Rather, you will have some knowledge, some base knowledge. For project-specific things, you can always go to internet and you can figure out few things from here and there, connect them together, and build your project. That should be the final goal. But these are the roadmap you can follow.
Okay, so thank you so much everyone for your amazing questions. Thank you so much, Saurav, for answering the questions. And we're really sorry if we couldn't answer your question. So we'll be sharing a feedback form with you all next week. And if in case you have any more questions, you can write your questions in the feedback form and we'll try to get them answered by Saurav as soon as possible. And to all those who are asking when will they get their certificates and the recording of the session, so we'll share it via email on your registered email IDs on Monday. So I'll again repeat that we'll share the certificates and the meeting recording on Monday on your registered email ID. In case you like this session, please give a thumbs up. And thank you so much, Saurav, for joining today. We keep having these sessions on every Saturday. So stay tuned for other workshops and see you again soon. Thank you so much. You all can start leaving. Thank you, Saurav. Thank you. So you all can start leaving the Google Meet. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you, Saurav.
Thank you.